Hello everybody and welcome to
the Nerd Guys Podcast, where we talk about everything nerdy under the sun.
That's right.
Actually, it doesn't necessarily have to be nerdy. It's just anything under the sun, you know?
Anything under the sun that we like and know things about.
Yes.
Relatively.
Exactly. And if we don't know, we'll hit up Google Academy.
There you go.
As always, we like to keep it respectful.
Mm-hmm.
Not really getting into hot button topics. Doesn't mean we can't dance around them, but for the most part, we don't invoke our opinions onto you all.
That's right.
So, we're streaming this on Twitch.
Yes.
As always, you can catch us on Jamie Shadow 9's Twitch channel.
Yes.
Jamie
Shadow / Twitch.tv.
Yep. And if you're not with us on the Twitch fam, you can catch the podcast on the Nerd Guys Podcast YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. I'm glad we can say that now.
Yeah, it feels good.
It does feel good. So, episode 2.
Well, episode 1, because our last episode was the pilot. So that's technically episode 0.
It is technically episode 0, but alright, if you want to do it that way, episode 1.
Yeah.
How you feeling about episode 1 after, doing episode 0? I
feel great. I'm gonna say that, I very much enjoyed doing this. I think this is whether these episodes end up on the channel or not, I still would like to do them because it is something that we have heavily talked about, and we do often talk a lot about a lot of various things on the phone to each other.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yes.
So, I just feel like, why not take those phone conversations and slap them on Twitch / YouTube.
Yep.
Alright. So, today for you folks, guys, gals,
we have a couple of fun topics.
Yes.
Some we revisit in future episodes, but today, let's start it off.
So,
the introduction first,
right.
sir.
So, I am Jamie Shadow 9, your lovely co-host on this Nerd Guys podcast. I usually do lots of different games on Twitch / and YouTube, and I'm a big food guy, so when we get to the food episode,
this is your big lovable teddy bear. I'm sorry, right. I'm talking about Mr. Jamie Shadow 9 is your big lovable teddy bear. On the other hand, I'm just a big lovable bear. It's me, Double T in the morning, and I'm a man. A big, strong man. No, but for real, it's me, Kitsune, and I'm here. I'm happy. You can find me on YouTube and Instagram at Underground335. I make my automotive content. Currently, I'm building my car. Well, not right now. Listen to the last podcast to understand why I'm not building anything right now, why no videos are going up. But just know that my page is about building a car and building cars in general.
Yep.
And car content.
You may see a car come from me on there. Ooh.
We'll leave that one under wraps. We'll wait until that one happens and then plug it on all 3 channels.
Yeah.
But I guess just to get some of the formalities out of the way, now that we've done the introduction, you may ask your question.
So, our first question is, who's your life hero?
I think before we get to that, we should ask the question of the title. The title of the episode.
Right.
What happened to the pop culture we knew? How you feeling about that question? You know, being almost 30.
It's hilarious being an internet baby, because a lot of the things that you grow up with either stick around or completely disappear.
Yeah.
Or in some cases just completely drastically change. Like, something that I can say that has definitely drastically changed was SpongeBob.
Oh yeah.
SpongeBob for almost 20 years was the same type of show. It was SpongeBob and his friends on misadventures and all that. Now it's Camp something.
Well, there are 3 different shows. You have Patrick Star has a show. I don't know if that's been canceled or not, but Patrick Star has a show. Then you have the show, like, it was like Camp Coral, I think.
Yeah, that's the show I was talking about. Camp Coral.
And then you actually have the main SpongeBob show.
Right. And to me, like, I stopped watching SpongeBob a long time ago, guys. But I watched SpongeBob for a while before I stopped. And when we got to the point where, like, SpongeBob was over, like, maybe 1,000, 2,000 episodes at the most, that's when they started to change how the show was. So it's very interesting, and like for shows that disappeared.
Well, just on the topic of SpongeBob, like,
Okay.
to add to that, like, they not only changed the show, like, before we all know it was like adult comedy.
Yeah.
I sat down this past weekend, and I was watching SpongeBob with like my nieces, and I realized they completely changed the animation style. Like, they updated it so it looks kind of interesting. It's still just as funny as it was when we were kids, and it's like low-key still true to how it was before.
Yeah.
But something about it just doesn't seem the same as when it was like the older episodes. Like, it's like the new episodes are more subtle, like Disney adult references, but the older episodes are just like in your face. Like, for instance, the Sailor Words episode.
Oh yeah, that one definitely was apparent. Yeah.
I saw a video about that, and literally the cast
is actually cursing.
They actually were cursing because they were like, it's hard to pretend to curse, so just let us curse. And you know, they started sitting there cursing up a storm, and it was like the funniest thing ever, because you could tell, like, and I don't know, it might be just me, but when it comes to animation style, I can be a bit of a snob at times, because I like that old classic. I like the look of how things were when we were kids. Like, everything was a little bit more hand drawn and not as refined. Now everything looks like super refined and high quality, and I'm like, it feels like it takes away from the character of the artistry.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I like that point, because in some cases it works.
Yeah.
Some cases it's like, man, wow, that really looks good.
Like the new Superman series on Max. Not sponsored, but hey, check it out if you have Max.
But in some cases it's like, I can't really get behind that. And it's funny that you mentioned like that, because I feel like people could say that about like a couple different shows, like Simpsons.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people that I've heard is up until like maybe season 9, season 10 of Simpsons, it's, you know, that's the goated era, is season 9 to season 10, and then everything after that is just not good. And then the same
Family Guy.
I was gonna say, and the same thing for Family Guy, where Family Guy is good for like, how many seasons is Family Guy?
Oh god, I think they're on season, like, I want to say 22 or 25, something like that.
Yeah, so maybe between like the same amount, like season 9 to 10 of Family Guy.
It's like actually anything up to season like I want to say 17 or 19, like, but a lot of that's just me. I like Family Guy, but a lot of people, I know a lot of people that would disagree.
So it brings that interesting, you know, dynamic and that interesting thought of like, you know, what some of your favorite shows were more interesting when you were younger versus as you got older.
One of the shows that's really crazy updated, and I found this out, was South Park. South Park had a completely different animation style. Like, it looked really paper mache at first, and then they just like rolled with it. And the crazy thing is, it was so subtle, I didn't realize that it was changing.
Yeah, you didn't realize it was changing as it was going along.
Yeah,
but that to me is the sign of people who and it's not like, you know, cast shade on anyone, but I feel like the creators of South Park really do love South Park and its characters and their fans and everything, and they take time to really adjust the details to their audience. And like, just like how you probably appreciate people who actually go, oh wow, that's a little bit different than these. Wow, I didn't think they would go with that. But it makes you go, oh man, that's pretty cool.
Shout out to South Park because they've stayed true to their fan base. Also, shout out to Futurama because they're coming back new season after ending the series. They're coming back for season, and I cannot wait.
So it might seem weird to anyone, but can you believe I've never watched Futurama?
Oh, we have some homework to do then.
But here's the thing, I know memes, because, you know, I'm on the internet. I know memes, I know certain characters and stuff. I know what Snoo Snoo is.
Me want Snoo Snoo. Me want make Snoo Snoo. Death by Snoo Snoo.
Death by Snoo Snoo. So, like, it's not that I don't know what any of the, a lot of the references or anything is. I've just never watched it.
That makes sense.
And I feel like there's a lot of media like that where you just kind of get absorbed into it without actually watching it. Another thing that you watch Star Wars.
I feel it.
But then I got absorbed into it because, well, I'm a nerd and a geek myself. Yep. I like sci-fi stuff.
Same.
And who you're gonna find with that same likeness? Star Wars and Star Trek fans.
Exactly.
So you're bound to find someone that's going to tell you how Star Wars, Star Trek, and why the Force must protect you.
I started off watching Star Wars, and then at a certain point I was like, I feel like this is kind of boring. Like, I still like the story. I still like the original trilogy. I didn't dislike the new movies that came out. I like those as well. I was like, oh, okay, so they're like, it's the author is expanding on the story. He has creative liberty to add and take away and write on whatever he wants because he created the universe. I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
I was never really a Trekkie, but I did like the movies.
Right.
My girlfriend, on the other hand, is a Trekkie, and she likes Star Trek. Because she watched it with her dad, who also likes Star Trek. And now I'm sitting here like, you know what, I want to experience Star Trek. So now I have homework to do. But all these stories have heroes and villains. So now I have to ask you a question.
Okay.
Who's your life hero? Like, who's someone, can be real or fiction, that you look up to as a hero?
I feel like this, I mean, I don't care if this is cheesy or not, but like, I'd say my mom.
It's John Cena!
It's John Cena!
No, let me stop.
But I feel like it's my mom because, you know, my mom is a very hard worker. She's a very lovely person, and she went through a lot growing up. Being the youngest, 9 children, she had some, other issues that I won't discuss here to deal with. But then, through all that, she was able to raise me and my brother and be able to be the person that she is today. And she's more happy now than she was when we were younger. There were a lot of times where she was afraid and frustrated, and especially considering that, like, at the time when my mom was younger and we were younger, my family wasn't as close as they were. In a lot of ways, my mom became the glue of the family. Like, if it weren't for my mom, my 2 aunts wouldn't be talking.
Oh, wow.
It's the truth.
Family, man.
What are they like? I know, right?
I know, right? We all know. Everybody has messed up families, but you don't realize it until
you start finding out more about the people that are related to you.
Yep. Usually around the time you become a teenager, but some people have the misfortune of finding out before.
Me. I found out a lot about, how some of my family structure worked, and the fact that families are so interesting because you can have a cousin that's like 50 years old.
Yeah, I have a couple of those. I have a whole bunch of those, actually.
And you, like, when I was younger, I just didn't think about it. But when you get older, you're like, wait a minute.
I have a cousin that's like in their 40s. They're like the same age as my aunt.
And the crazy thing is that for me, my cousin, he when I was younger, he tried to be like my dad. And my mom was like, what are you doing?
Exactly.
You're not his father.
I feel it.
If I wanted his father here, he would be here.
That's weird. And like it's also weird. You get those cousins that are like, I'm so much older than you that I feel like I deserve respect as if I'm your aunt or uncle. And it's like, no, you're my cousin.
First of all, we don't spend time together, so I really don't know you. Second of all, just because you're older than me means nothing to me. Exactly. And then third of all, it doesn't matter if you're my family or not. You're going to get the same respect that I'd give anyone else.
Exactly. Because when we turn 21, or a lot of people 18, age is nothing but a number. You get the respect that you get.
That's right.
I think if I had to answer that question, I have 2 answers. One of the people that my hero is my mom. And, similar to you, because she raised me by herself, with help, but, it was just myself, my mom, and my brother.
Well, I was gonna say, like, we could, like, I want to prefix it for our listeners. It's not like, my mom or your mom wasn't being helped by other family members. But what we mean is, like, single parent home.
Yeah, which single parent homes are fairly difficult.
I grew up, and I know you have the same experience of growing up with people telling you about their broken families, and it's like,
yep.
But they'll say they have both parents.
Yep.
And it's not like that's any better or worse, because it doesn't matter.
Exactly, because like everyone has their own struggles.
Right. But at the same time, having a single parent home, whether it be single mother or father, that's not really the most ideal situation.
Exactly.
But continue.
But my mom's not here for a multitude of reasons. Like, my mom, I always laugh about this because my mom, to me, was more like a dad, and the person who was more like my mom was my grandmom, up until she passed away. My grandmom, I put her up on this pedestal because, to me, she knew everything. until I got older and I learned she didn't know everything. Here's why I thought she knew everything. Any morning that I would ask her what the weather was going to be, she always knew the answer. And I didn't realize it's because she watched the news. But whatever she didn't know, she would study to be able to give me the answer if I asked her the question. And she kept up with me until I hit about high school. Once I got into high school, that's when she started slowing down and I started to take off. But she always encouraged me. Like, my mom, at times it didn't seem like my mom, I knew she loved me, but at times it didn't feel like it because she was showing more tough love than anything. And I really appreciate it because she basically taught me that the world doesn't owe you anything, and like the world could be a really cool place at times. People you think love you, who say they love you, don't actually love you. Like, they just trying to hitch a ride, and they'll tell you whatever they need to tell you, goodbye. But I guess my grandma, I loved her to the moon and back 1,000,000 times. I still love her to the moon and back 1,000,000 times, even though she's no longer with us. But it's like, I look at her passing like she had to leave so my mom and I could develop even more of a relationship together.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I got to meet your grandma before she passed. I am.
She was one of the strongest women that I knew.
I could tell.
Yeah.
I can tell. Like, even when you told me about her and then I got to meet her, like, I could feel how strong she was. I'm someone, I mean, I know some people can relate, but I'm someone who can kind of, like, feel auras of people. And not in, like, the,
You
crazy,
sound like Mrs. Kitsune.
Yeah.
Nah, I know what you mean.
But, like, she had a very strong will, and I could tell.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really beautiful about a lot of people when you have a certain specific trait that people can just pick up. I mean, of course, it's a positive. I'm like, you don't want to. The ideal thing is that you don't want someone to pick up that you're a complete asshole.
yeah, but unfortunately, there are a lot of people in the world.
I mean, there's nothing we can do about that. But yeah, that's why I say, like, I'm so glad that I got to meet Grandma.
I guess to stay away from that,
What are the
movie and fiction?
Yes.
Who would you say one of your heroes growing up as a kid was? Like, you watch a show, you read a comic, you read a manga, and this person is just a person that you were, like, obsessing about. You wanted to be like this person, you wish this person was real because they were your hero.
Oh man. I guess I have to go with my earliest example, but it makes the most sense.
Abba Ranger.
I wish. I wish I knew about that before, but no. But it is a Power Ranger. It's Tommy Oliver. I remember when I was a kid, watching Power Rangers for the first time and being so amazed by the giant monsters and the giant robots and these action heroes in spandex. Like, to me, that just was like,
damn. He emphasized in spandex.
Dr. K would have my head. Oh man. And
but why Tommy?
Huh?
Why Tommy?
Why Tommy? Because he was such a nice guy when they got to meet him for the first time. And and the funny thing about it is, he was like he was a handsome dude. Like he just this really pretty guy, but he's just so nice. He's so humble. He was into martial arts. 2 N's.
I did put 2. Keep on with your explanation.
I think another reason is because like he felt like an older brother to me, and I'm the older of 2 brothers, so to have someone to kind of feel like that older brother, you know, really special person, it put me in perspective. And like when I got older, I learned more about him. And it's crazy because I know everybody, if you're a Power Ranger fan, you know about this, and if you're not, you probably are. You probably still know about this. Tommy has been 5 Rangers over the history of time. How do I put this? When I was watching Power Rangers for the first time, I got to know the 5 Rangers, and I liked everybody but Jason. Everybody but the Red Ranger, because everybody in school was like, but when I was younger, my favorite color was green. I can't tell you why.
Money.
I wish my childhood brain was on that wave, but nope. I just like the color green. And then when the Green Ranger showed up, I was like, oh my god, there's a Green Ranger! Ah! So yeah, he's such an inspirational character, and his actor, such wonderful soul, touched a lot of people's hearts, and unfortunately, you know, he passed away.
Yeah, rest in peace, Mr.
Jason David Frank.
Sir.
I really think that we do get a lot of inspirations from our favorite people, and we really start to see things in a different light when they're alive and when they pass. And for me, I'm glad that I got to know, you know, Tommy Oliver and Jason David Frank in some capacity. What about you?
My hero, it's going to sound basic, but my hero when I was a kid was Batman. Like, he grew up without his parents. I grew up without a parent.
Yeah. It's very easy to relate to him.
Yeah. He grew up and became a superhero. He put on a mask. I put on a mask.
As you do.
As you do. And he was human. Like, in a world full of superpower people, he was human, and he had to always strive to be better, but at the same time remember he was human.
Yep.
Like, one of my other heroes was Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Peter Parker actually more so than Batman, because Pete lost both his parents.
Yep.
And then lost his uncle, who was like his father, and depending on which comic you read, he loses his aunt, who was like his mom. But I related more to Peter Parker once I started growing up, where it was just tragedy after tragedy after tragedy. Yeah. And he became like a phenomenal hero, but still struggled being a regular person. And I think that was superheroes in general. Like, you're this person that leads 2 lives. One life you do really good at, but you suffer with your home life. And to me, it was like work and home. And I find myself, you know, struggling with that in real life. Like, when work life is going really well, home life struggles a bit because you're not giving it that much attention. And then you turn around and try to get balance and, you know, make home life better, but then work life starts to suffer and you're like stressing out, like, oh my gosh, you know, what's going on?
Damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Exactly.
But it's funny because, like, I think the thing that I've trying to master now is having that equal work-life balance.
Same.
And I think I've been very successful, to be honest. I've been able to stream more. I've been able to actually relax.
That's the hardest part. Like, you get days off and you try to relax, but it just feels like they're not enough.
And you know what the funny thing is, and I'm starting to understand some of my creators. Sometimes my relaxation is working on the stream.
Yeah.
Like, not recording or anything, but just working on alerts or elements that could be new for the stream or stuff like that. And that's somehow really calming and allows me to, like, have a creative mind for something but not be stressed about it.
Exactly. And you know what? I feel that. Like for me personally with my channel, I don't always film everything that I do to my car. Like, basic maintenance, I don't film that. I take pride and, you know, joy, and it makes me relax to get under my car and, like, perform an oil change.
Yeah.
It's fun. Like, it sucks because it's a lot of, like, it's not a lot of work, but it's work.
It's work. But
at the end of it, I'm satisfied. And, you know, certain parts that I installed them. I didn't record it. It sucked while I was in the middle of it, but, like, when I was done, it made me happy.
Right.
But, like, going to work, I'm like, oh man, I'm ready to tear my hair out because I'm doing something that I thought I loved, which I do love. I do love my job, but it's like everybody else.
Yeah.
You can't exercise that creative liberty that you really want to. Like,
you can't exercise your creative mind.
Exactly.
And be able to express yourself in that way. You have to express yourself in the way that the company and the business wants you to.
Yeah, it's like you can express yourself, but you can only express yourself up until the point where it's going to start costing us money or we're not making money. Like it, and you know, I get it. We need money while we're alive, right. But you know, when you sacrifice creativity and passion for solely money, I feel like you start to lose a piece of yourself.
That's going to be a topic for another podcast because that one hits close to home for me because of my prior experience.
Yeah. Oh god. Well, if you all want to hear a podcast about that, drop a line in the comment section, because I know that we're not the only ones that feel that way about work. Mm-hmm. Like, you see people out here living their lives, doing things that they say they love.
Yeah.
And you know, we're spoon-fed this on social media. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if you want an episode about that, we're definitely going to make one. But comment whether or not you want to hear it.
Yeah. All right.
But you know,
onward to the
like
next.
I was saying,
yes,
Spider-Man.
So Spider-Man 2 coming out soon,
October-ish, if I remember correctly.
Are you excited about it?
Yes. Like, literally my favorite Marvel superhero. I am definitely excited about this game.
I watched, what was it? The PlayStation Presents thing. And I think it was Xbox because I saw it at Xbox first. What's the Xbox? I don't remember. One of the two.
I watched it on PlayStation.
No.
Or
Awards. I knew it was one of those freaking presentations.
No, we're back on a Game Award now. Let's look around and make sure nobody's walking up on stage with us.
Oh man, but the Summerfest was not too long ago, and they had the trailer for Spider-Man 2, and first of all, Spider-Man has the freaking suit on.
He has the symbiote suit.
He's like freaking edgy now, and
he's Black Force Spider-Man.
Yes,
the best Spider-Man.
And like in one of the scenes in the trailer, you know, Genki meets Spider-Man like through the android or the drone that they had.
Yeah, the bird drone.
And he's like, "Oh, hi, it's so nice to meet you," and blah 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 blah. And like basically Black Pete is what I'll call him. Just kind of shoves him off.
He's like, "I don't have time for this."
And it is so hilarious, and then Genki asks Miles, he's like, is he always like this? And Miles is like, no, not usually. Something must have happened, and that kind of brings the question of like, what happened between, you know, Miles Morales and when he gets the suit.
I feel so bad because like, you know, Pete's going to be angry because he couldn't save May, and I feel like something might happen to MJ.
Let's hope not,
or
because
might not happen to her, but between her and him, between the two of them.
Yeah,
but I really feel the worst for Kraven the Hunter because like I feel like he's going to get his butt kicked in the beginning of this game.
I love the fact that they chose him for this game and like he looks so good as well. And it's funny because like I think there were some people saying like, oh well, how's Kraven gonna stack up against the others from the other games, because you know, of course, we had the Sinister Six in the first game, and then we have the Tinkerer and Miles Morales.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm like, well, he doesn't need to do anything special. His whole thing is that he is on the hunt for a big game, big targets. Who's he gonna go after? All the people that we've either put in jail, Fisk and the Sinister Six, and then the Spider people.
Yep. And the thing that people don't really realize is like, Kraven's one of, in my opinion, Kraven's one of Spider-Man's more dangerous villains, because to him it's a game. Like, he'll set up across the entire city traps, and he doesn't really give a crap who gets caught in it.
Yeah.
Because it's all a game to him. He's like Screwball times 10.
Except not annoying and not doing it for social media.
Oh yeah, that too. But like,
yeah.
I can't wait, because like Spider-Man with the Venom symbiote is one of my favorite iterations of Spider-Man. Like, I hope this game leads into Eddie Brock becoming Spider-Man.
Oh, they said that Eddie's not going to be Venom.
Eddie's not going to be Venom?
No, man, he's not going to be Venom in this game.
I wonder who's going to be Venom then, because the only other person I can think of is Flash Thompson.
So, I think the theory was that like the first Venom could be Harry, because of what we know about the end of Spider-Man 1.
You mean like about
Norman having him with the symbiote?
Yeah.
So he could be Venom number 1, but Venom number 2, that could be Flash Thompson, or could be someone completely different.
Well,
or it could be Kraven.
Oh god. Oh man. I think Kraven did wear the Venom symbiote at some point in time. So many people wore the Venom symbiote just like they wore the Carnage symbiote. But the thing is, if it was Flash Thompson, the symbiote would be like, he'd be Asian Venom. He wouldn't really be like the Venom that everybody knows. He'd be like the Venom from like Ultimate Spider-Man, where he's like the superhero or the secret agent, the army man that lost both his legs but then got him back with the symbiote.
Right.
But you get Eddie Brock, like, and I would hope that they would bring Eddie Brock in because he starts off like a villain, but eventually becomes a bit of an anti-hero. And you start to understand his motivations more, and like he has really great comic lines.
Right.
Like his stint as Venom was great. And then he becomes anti-Venom at a certain point in time. And like one of the craziest things was the Venom symbiote was actually killing him. That's like one of the best plot points. Like he's dying already, and then he finds out that the Venom symbiote, which is keeping him from dying of his human ailment, is killing him all the same. Like that, I think that's why he's like a great character and a great candidate. Like, I hope they don't deviate too far off of that. But when I saw Venom and others and whatnot, it looks like it will be Eddie Brock ultimately.
And the other thing is, like, there are pictures of both Spider-Man, you know, standing together to face off against Venom. So we know that Pete does get free of Venom eventually.
Oh yeah.
So it's exciting for me, man. A game that I'm excited about. And at the time of this recording, is coming out Friday, but it's Pikmin 4.
Oh wow, you're going out for Pikmin 4?
Listen, I played the demo and I was like, this is probably one of the best things I've played in a while. And I played a lot of really good games. I mean, Tears of the Kingdom. Check out my playthrough; it's real good. But also, last summer I was playing Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and boy, that's a good ass game. If you have not checked Xenoblade Chronicles 3 out, you need to. It's so good. But yeah, I'm excited about Pikmin 4 because they took a lot of the things about normal Pikmin, like the normal Pikmin games, and just kept adding to it to the point where it's very streamlined, but also very Pikmin, if that makes sense. It doesn't deviate too far from what it is originally or what it does. It's Pikmin, but just better, which is really cool.
So, my next question for you. Why do you think some characters or some franchises never got games? Because, like, it's obvious that people love superheroes. Like, we just sat here and discussed, like, for a while, various heroes, both real, like, fictional, non-fiction. And, like, these are really popular franchises, yet they didn't get games.
So, if we're gonna hone in on one specifically, we're gonna talk about Static Shock. Because, come on, everybody should know,
bruh,
how good this show is. Like, if you don't know,
that was my pick, personally.
But, I mean, I love Static Shock. But
I rewatched the series 3 times already.
Something that was brought out in an interview, and something that we're looking at right now, is the reason why Static Shock was ultimately canceled as a television show was because of the lack of production of associated merchandise products. But that's not really the show's fault.
No, like, literally the only toy line that the game. The only toy line that the show really got was like, I think,
Wasn't
a
it
toy
like-
line at Subway.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was like a fast food kind of like toy chain. And the thing that surprises me even more is that, you know, Static Shock has a Game Boy Advance game. I can't tell you how good it is, but I don't think that it did the character or the show itself justice.
I'll just say that, like, looking at it, it looks like your typical, like, 2D platformer where you're flying through the air, jumping, doing various tasks. But
It's kind of like a Game Boy Power Rangers game.
yeah, like, with the way video games are nowadays, like,
A Static Shock game would be amazing.
a Static Shock game would be great. Like,
Especially because, like, Virgil is a fantastic character.
yes, he's very, very dynamic. He's not a one-dimensional character like a whole bunch of other superheroes. And, like, the thing is, of course, he relates to people like you and me because he was, at one point in time, one of the few black characters that was on TV. And I got hope when Young Justice brought him back. And then when they rebooted the comic, like, I was like, oh man, he's gaining traction again. And then, like, with the introduction of characters like Black Lightning in the DC TV cinematic universe, I was like, oh man, this character is just going to get super popular, and then we're going to get a video game because everybody's screaming out like, yo, we want more Static. But DC is like, nah, we're doing other things. We're going to keep rebooting our cinematic universe 4, 5, 6 times.
We're gonna keep rebooting Superman, Batman, Flash, Wonder Woman. I heard. So I don't want to like throw too much shade, but this is kind of the problem with DC.
I will
sometimes.
gladly throw shade at DC because they make phenomenal animated movies. And, like, in my opinion, Marvel cannot touch them.
Yeah.
Marvel's animated movies are really good, but these are phenomenal. Like, the storytelling, it's like literally they took the comic book and brought it to life.
Yeah.
But
Their live action stuff.
yeah, like, it's like they fall flat. I'm like, why don't you get the people from the animated world and take these stories, put them on screen?
I mean, I think that's basically the issue. And characters like Static Shock and other superheroes that are in DC's category list don't really get as much attention because they're too busy trying to build up their mains, which isn't a bad thing, but like, you know,
How many times do you want to hear a Superman movie, like see a Superman movie or see a Batman? Or,
yeah.
Well, I can't say Batman because they could keep making those and I'll keep watching.
I mean, but the point about it is, like, how many times will they remake a Batman instead of just going forward with Batman?
Exactly. Well, apparently, from what I heard, I haven't had the chance to see the Flash movie yet because I've been kind of house ridden. But I watched plenty of reviews, like online movie reviews, and a lot of people came to the same consensus that the Flash movie was good, despite, you know, who was playing the Flash.
He has a person who will not be named.
Yeah. However, I saw something today that basically said that because the Flash movie wasn't as popular as, you know, Warner Brothers thought it was going to be, they might be canceling the Batman Beyond movie that they were going to do. And fans, myself included, are in an uproar because we're like, bruh,
What the heck did Batman Beyond do?
exactly. It's like, dog, we've got a whole bunch of Batman movies to the end of time, but now we get this different iteration of Batman, and you're like, we're not going to move forward with this.
Because
Maybe.
we're not going to move forward because of the Flash. But I will say, DC, you kind of created your own problem of course people weren't gonna go watch that movie. Why? Because this person who will not be named was the Flash.
Yeah, like
there's nothing that I can do or say to kind of like, you know, justify that. There's like it. It's like going to the butcher store and your butcher is a serial killer.
all fans, most fans, myself included, wanted Grant Gustin to be the big screen movie Flash. And Warner Brothers was like, no.
And that kind of confused me because I remember when they had the Flash in what was it, Batman vs Superman, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, I even liked him as the Flash. He was all right.
Wait, who?
The Flash in Batman v Superman.
Well, I was the same person from the Flash movie.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh.
They've been the Flash.
Okay, never mind.
Since, but this was before everything that happened.
Okay, well that version of him I was okay with, but like I was confused because I was like, well, when I first heard about them casting the Flash as a different Flash in the movies, I was like, but wouldn't it make more sense to have the Flash from the television show be the Flash in the movie so it's very consistent and people are, you know, I don't know, used to seeing that person? Plus, for Grant Gustin, what a freaking honor would be. Like, I could imagine how excited he would have been to be the Flash in not only the television show but the movies.
I say maybe I don't know, but like, don't take my word for this, but because the TV series was doing so well, maybe he just didn't have time. But I say they could have put the TV show on ice for a while until the movie was done, because like, he would have been a phenomenal Flash. You know what? Shout out to Grant Gustin, because he did 9 seasons of the Flash. In my opinion, he is the modern day Flash, because I watched that show admittedly from like season 1 to about season, I think, 7. I still have 2 seasons left to watch, but I enjoyed every season.
You know, it's funny you say that because like every Flash, the television show fan that I've asked says that the season should have ended at season 4. Like, Flash should have ended at season 4. That's it. They didn't need no more Flash. Because
was it the lightsaber fight?
Yeah, I think whatever season lightsabers were involved.
That was, I do believe, season 8.
They should have stopped it before the lightsabers were involved, because there's a obvious tell that like the direction of the writing was just going in a weird direction.
Yeah. They got into time travel.
Well, I mean, everything's going to be sketchy when it comes to time travel, right, Power Rangers?
Forget that. Look at how Marvel's suffering now because of, hey, time travel. They're doing their whole multiverse saga thing, and like,
I pray for them, because like they're trying to make this whole thing work, and they're doing a pretty good job with Doctor Strange, but Doctor Strange cannot hold up this entire universe. Marvel's it was kind of like held magic a lot, you know, early on. So now that you're really pushing on the magic, it's like,
Marvel's doing a good job.
Yeah.
With, as far as Doctor Strange, like, he's not really holding up the universe right now.
But he's doing a lot for the universe.
Potentially. We don't know yet, because that movie hasn't come out. But, like, Marvel's issue right now is that they have a lot of different stuff going on. Like, a lot of different projects in the work. And with the writer strike and actor strike that's going on right now,
support for our writers and
100%. They deserve fair compensation because they do a lot. They give us the stuff that we like watching, and
it's why a lot of your favorite shows may be on hiatus.
Yep. But the thing is, this is why they're suffering, because like they had all these projects planned out, and I thought that the writing was going to be like it was back in like phase 1 through phase 4. But now it's like, hey, this character is here, that character is here, this character is here. All right, we're going to see them all come together in one project, and it's like, nah. And then we're like, what was the point of us meeting this person if they weren't going to, join over here?
Yeah.
But I feel like we're beating a dead horse now.
So we've been talking a lot about like our why characters never get games, or in the case of Static Shock, only got a Game Boy game.
Only got a Game Boy game. Superman got a couple games. Iron Man got a couple games.
Superman got one of the worst games, going through rings. Hooray!
But Batman got a bunch of games, and up until his most recent game,
oh god,
it's like legitimately one of the best superhero games.
Oh man.
But
but you know what games have music, so I have to ask you, what's your music preference?
Ah man. So, at risk of telling my age or my ethnicity,
oh no,
if I haven't said it, I listen to any and everything that, like, if it's good, it's good. Like, at first I grew up on R&B.
Yeah.
R&B and
soul.
Yeah, and soul. Then I transitioned to hip hop, where like I've been for the last, I don't know, 20 something years. And up until like college, I dabbled in other types of music here and there, but once I got to college, I started listening to like more alternative metal and rock, and I'm like, you know what, I vibe with this.
Yeah.
Up until like I heard Lil Wayne say that he listens to like all different types of music, and it helped influence his music, and I was like, oh wow, so it's okay for me to listen to other types of music. And I started listening to other types of music. Like EDM, for the most part, was my but most of my college life. So I listened to house music and electronic music like all the time. Like when Zed was super popular, I was bumping headphones. Like now, a couple people that I listen to, of course, Cole and Kendrick, gotta. But one of the people that I feel is underrated that I listen to, Logic.
Yeah, man.
My boy, I'm sorry, the black white boy, like Logic, I feel like Mans is underrated because like he speaks his truth, but people just look at him like he's a nerd. I'm like, nah, to me Logic's a misfit. He goes in the same category as like the Jaden Smiths, the Tyler the Creators, the Childish Gambinos. Like, Mans is a misfit because he doesn't fit into the popularity mold, and he's just himself. And I feel that, and like, low key, I think it's also cool because like you can watch him on YouTube. Like he streams on Twitch, he does lives on YouTube, and he like brings you along with his world. And a lot of people try to make him sound corny, and I'm like, bro, who cares? Like, if you like what he makes, go ahead and listen to him.
Yeah.
Like, Logic is my dog. Like, nothing more to say. Like, of course, Kendrick and Cole are my dogs too. Like, I've been listening to Kendrick since I was in like late middle school, early high school. Like, of course, goated. Like, people beat the dead horse. Like, goated. Kendrick, goated. Cole, goated.
Yeah.
But like, I started getting into more Lupe Fiasco and
oh, man.
Jay Electronica, Sci-Hi the Prince, like people like that. I recently just started listening to MF Doom, and like, dog, I'm like, bro, these people are great. If you couldn't tell, I'm a hip hop head. So like, my music preference, I'm a hip hop head.
For me, I also like listening to a lot of like different music, even country. Like, I have my selects though. I can't really, jam with everybody. There's some country I'm like, nah, I'm good. But like when I was growing up, a lot of the music I listened to was R&B or pop, like Michael Jackson.
That goes insane.
But like, I say that for me because like when I was growing up, I was, a lot of the people in my class were like, oh, I listen to rap, blah blah blah, and I did too. I grew up with freaking Jay-Z, Eminem, Dr. Dre.
Goated.
Bro, these are my dudes, man.
Jay-Z's my favorite rapper.
Yeah.
Still to this day.
To this day.
To this day.
But I would have kids saying like, "Oh, you don't listen to rap?" And I'm like, "I do. It's just it may not be something that you listen to. I used to listen to a lot of underground people, like people who just weren't on the scene in general, and I'm like, this is music, man."
Yeah.
Early versions of like I used to listen to like Chris Brown. I mean, I still kind of listen to Chris Brown. Chris Brown got some bangers.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can even say that I used to listen to early Drake. I was an early Drake head. But
so was I.
I think when we talk about music, right, it really kind of depends. Like I've become a lot more selective of like the stuff that I like listening to. I'll still listen to a lot of things. Like I listen to not only like just regular like hip hop, pop, all that, but I listen to video game music too. But for me, it's not just the beat anymore, because if you know, around the 2010, that's when trap came out, and everything was a trap beat.
Yes.
You couldn't go anywhere without something being a trap beat. So I had to think about it. Like, okay, and plus people were, either singing or rapping about, expensive clothes and, getting the hoes and smoking that weed. And I'm like, bro, I'm not doing none of those things. None of that applies to me.
You like, dog, I ain't into that life, but this is pretty dope.
And like some of those songs, I rocked with. Some of those people who sung about that stuff, like, yeah, you know what, whatever. But man, yeah, I say like more recently I've been, actually the most recent wave that I've been on, and I'm still trying to get on that wave, is J-pop and K-pop stuff, because there's some amazing music that comes from across the sea, man.
Hey, yo, you're telling me. What's the name? OMG by New Jeans had me in a chokehold for like 5 weeks when it first came.
I remember when you first introduced me to, what's her name? I'm gonna find it real quick. Give me a minute, I'm stalling. Don't mind me stalling. Yeah, Miki Masubara.
What song?
Stay with me.
Oh, wow. I thought you had known about that song before that. Wow. Yeah, because I was introduced to that song, admittedly enough, through like all the automotive videos, like all the car videos I watched. Because like when I started watching Initial D, I got introduced into like a whole bunch of 80s.
The freaking Euro stuff.
Yeah, 80s Euro songs. And this was like one of the songs that was in the. Like, I've heard this before. This is great.
I might have heard that song specifically before because I watched Initial D, but I was not aware of her.
Yeah.
You know, when I watched Initial D.
The song wasn't in Initial D, but like it's the same vibe. So like if you get on Spotify, a lot of people lump it in there.
Yeah, that makes
so
sense.
they toss it in those playlists.
But man, like when I first heard that song, like first of all, like it just, I don't know, it's just so like, you know, it's pop, but it's so like upbeat and you feel like it makes you want to dance. And that, like, I think, you know, of course, like, people are like, oh, it's pop. That's what it makes you want to do. But, like, you got to understand, not all pop songs are like that.
All right, that, to me, it's just like Travis Scott is today. It's a vibe. Like, you just feel like you transcend.
Yeah, you did, yeah.
When you're playing this, or when you're listening to this. Like, I mean, it's crazy. And, like, it's even music is kind of like, you know, easier to share. So like before, where it was like, you know, just 5 years ago, where it was harder to share, or not 5 years, probably about 10 years ago, where it was harder to share music across the sea. It's super easy now because of like social media, like YouTube and Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah, Spotify, like, even
Spotify, and like it's crazy because like segue. I'm working on my segues. With YouTube and Instagram, you know, being like two powerhouse social media platforms, I gotta ask you, which do you prefer, YouTube or Instagram?
YouTube. I'm such a slut, but you know.
We don't slut shame here.
Listen,
it's okay.
I'm sorry, but like, I mean, I have to prefix this. For the longest time, I didn't have an Instagram. You know this.
Okay.
And everyone's like, oh my god, you should get on Instagram because you can do so much stuff on Instagram. La, 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 la. And I'm like...
Was I the one that convinced you to make it finally?
Yes. Because you were like, you follow these pretty ass girls.
Oh my god. I turned you into King Simp. That's what it was.
Like, oh, there's some pretty ass girls on Instagram, bro. You should go. And I was like, what? Where?
I'm sorry. I sent him thirst trap pictures on Instagram.
You did.
And I turned him from Simp to King Simp.
What happened was, I didn't have it. He sent me a picture from Instagram to Facebook Messenger and be like, bro, this is one of the Instagram models that I follow. And I'm like, so how do I, and he like just make an Instagram, like, fine. But ever since I don't regret having an Instagram, but two, none of my family I have on Instagram. All of my
Bless your soul.
All of my family, no, I made sure that none of my family would follow me on Instagram because one, my Instagram is a dumpster fire, and not just for Instagram models, but just in general. But two, I have everyone that's family on Facebook. I don't need y'all on my Instagram. I need some sort of privacy.
I feel that.
And considering that I don't use Twitter, I would not use Twitter because Twitter is... But I need some sort of separation between this is the platform where I have my family on versus this is the platform where it's for me. But yeah, YouTube, man, because YouTube is just so easy to just get into. You just put on a video, you watch for like, you put on not even just one video, you could put it on an entire playlist that someone's made of whatever you're into and just watch it for fucking hours. You know, if you want to watch someone make a cake and fucking food that they make, there's a playlist that they probably have on their YouTube channel. You watch it. Instagram is that like instant gratification where like people post reels and memes and shit and all. It's hilarious, but it's kind of the quintessential social media platform, if that makes sense. It's the one that you would expect to have the funny ass memes and the, Instagram models and clickbaits and fucking thirst traps.
I'm torn because I'm like, I don't know what I choose. And like putting this topic up here, I thought I knew, but I'm like, I don't know, because I spend a lot of time watching videos on YouTube, but I spend just as much time on Instagram watching like reels.
Yeah.
And like just looking through photos. Like, because I love photography, I was automatically drawn to Instagram, where I could like post photos and post pictures.
That was another thing that everybody was like, oh my god, you can post pictures on Instagram. And I'm like, I don't even take enough pictures to do that.
You were like, yeah, I could post pictures on Facebook too. I'm like, no, it's not the same. It's not the same thing. But like, I think I'd have to agree with you. Like, YouTube is great because like it's like watching cable without actually having cable, because like the production value of some of these YouTube videos, YouTube videos back in the day versus YouTube videos now are drastically different. Like, when I think of like yesteryear YouTube, I think of like Chocolate Rain.
Can I sit here on the record and say that is kind of my guilty pleasure, is going back and watching the jank ass shit.
I feel that. But like,
I love watching janky YouTube, because janky YouTube was fucking especially everything before 2010. Everything before 2010 is fucking goated. I don't give a shit.
But the bad part is, a majority of those videos were lost because of copyright issues.
Yeah, man.
Like, alright, I'll just say this. YouTube versus Instagram, I agree with you. YouTube, goated. Not going anywhere. Instagram, I love Instagram. Like, if you were saying Instagram versus TikTok, yeah, Instagram all day.
Instagram all day.
But just because Instagram pre-2014, pre-2010.
There's some janky ass shit on Instagram 2014 that I saw, and I was like, I can't believe people got away with this shit. And then I remember, oh wait, I can, because Vine.
Oh my god, yeah. Oh my god,
the shit that people did on Vine.
A lot of that stuff was dual posted between Vine and for those of you that don't know what Vine is, Vine was TikTok before TikTok. And it's sad to say, but Vine, and immediately enough, I'm surprised Snapchat's still around.
Yeah.
But Vine was goated. Vine is the reason why Instagram is as popular as it is today.
Yeah.
And TikTok damn sure is popular as it is today.
Especially with TikTok, because like a lot of TikTok memes originated from Vine.
Yes.
Like doing some silly, goofy shit on Vine, on Instagram, not Instagram, on TikTok. That was some silly, goofy shit that was on Vine originally.
Wow. So I just looked up why Vine was like shut down, and apparently it was shut down because it wasn't making money. And I'm like, oh, and it's crazy because it was so great. Like, literally, to the generation that is watching this, you probably already know what TikTok is.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, you would not have TikTok if Vine didn't prove that the short form video was a thing.
Yeah.
Had a market.
And like we talked about in the last episode, YouTube, when it became a thing in 2005, it was home movies, home videos of your family, your friends and shit. And sometimes those movies were like, I mean, they were long, but they had to cut up into like 10 to 15 minute videos. But because there was so much of it, it was more like long form content than short form content. Because of course, people were doing stuff in the style of like episodes on television, where it's like, oh, this is episode 1 or part 1 of my family goes down to Florida and we all fall down the stairs.
Yo, I was just about to say, to be honest, stuff like America's Funniest Home Videos, and what was the other show? Candid Camera,
yeah.
Shows like that, like before the internet was like super popular, proved that there was a market for laughing at short form videos. Because like Vine started off as like a bunch of people with like, you know, phone cameras recording skits of doing things, and then one day it started gradually progressing where people were actually going out and buying cameras and expensive cinematography equipment, sitting down thinking of sketches, which again, shows like SNL, Chappelle Show, In Living Color, they were doing like making these things where they were writing what if skits. Like
I was gonna say, I remember, you know, people doing stuff like Jackass, like J stuff.
Yeah. Like low key, a couple of the people that I remember, like notable people, you all probably know him. Melvin Gregg, he was in I do believe Snowfall. King Batch, Jerry Perpdrink was one of the people that I used to follow. Splack, I follow Splack, yo. And I will say this, some of the new people that I follow, not on Vine, but I follow them on Instagram and YouTube, RDC World. Because now that anime is mainstream, they literally make these, what if this anime had this circumstance? And like, it doesn't sound funny when I explain it, but bruh, it's low-key funny. Shout out RDC World. I hope you hear this video one day. Like, dog, Vine did so much for social media, and I feel like YouTube is just carrying on the tradition, because now they have reels, they have community posts where basically it's kind of like, not like it's like Twitter. I'll say it's like Twitter, more like Twitter than Facebook.
Yeah,
where you can make posts.
Right. But
you can also record yourself and your friends having fun and post that video and basically save that memory for however long it'll stay on there. So, I guess we talked a lot. You ready to close this episode out?
Alright. So, let's go over our topics once again. We talked about what happened to pop culture that we know, and we moved on and talked about our life heroes, you know, heroes that we have either IRL or people that we grew up watching on television. And then we talked about our excitement for Spider-Man 2 and Pikmin 4. Then we talked about Static Shock's Game Boy game. Then we moved on to our favorite artists our favorite music purposes. Can't talk. And then we finally closed it out with YouTube versus Instagram, which doesn't really seem like a fair fight.
Yeah, it didn't even really feel like YouTube versus Instagram. It really felt like
YouTube versus YouTube.
It felt like YouTube. To me, it felt like YouTube versus Instagram, but ultimately Vine wins everything.
Yes, we did talk about how Vine was goated.
Vine was definitely goated. But all right.
Okay.
Sorry, if you want to go for it, you can wind this up or round this episode out.
So if you like this episode, make sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe. Ask some questions for us. We definitely will use any topics that you guys will put in, of course, within reason.
And And we want to hear your opinions. Like, based on the topics today, like, what are some of your answers to those topics?
You know, what happened to the pop culture that you knew?
Exactly. Because I'm 27.
I'm 29.
And there are a whole bunch of people that are older than us that'll be like, oh, pfft, the pop culture that you knew back in my day, the pop culture was, you know, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and
Care Bears.
yeah, and Care Bears, Masters of the Universe.
Oh my god, yo. Or you could be younger than that and be like, oh,
Dog, all that stuff is boring.
Camp Laszlo and
Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends.
oh god, especially that, yeah.
Or even younger than that. Nah, dog, it's all about Cocomelon now. That show was goated.
Cocomelon.
Oh my gosh. Alright. Make sure you follow us. Socials are in the description. Follow us on Instagram. Follow Jamie Shadow at Jamie Shadow 9. Follow me at Underground 335. Check out our other channels. Follow at Jamie Shadow on Twitch and YouTube. Follow Underground 335 on YouTube. And most important, follow the Nerd Guys podcast. Subscribe. Stick around. You might hear a topic that you like.
Yeah.
Well, episode 0 was a success.
And now we've done episode 1. Let's go.
So, thank you all for sticking around, and we'll catch you next time.